page. So if you go into the Startup Weekend page,
They already posted it, right? What do you want to see?
there's a bit this. You need to somehow figure out how to, like, maybe here. No. So if we use this link. Okay. Yes.
Cool. What do we do? Send you. 사케팅은 할 때. 여기에서도 무시했어.
You're in Capital.
Okay, so we're gonna get started then. So, welcome everybody to Startup Weekend Tokyo. That's all for you guys. Big thanks to our sponsors here, IDEO, who hosted us over the weekend. We couldn't have done that event without our local sponsors that gave us the venues. So please give a huge applause to So Startup Weekend itself is really crazy global these days. We are in over 700 cities and over 100 countries. This weekend alone, I think there's 15 or something like that other Startup Weekends happening all around the globe. So it's really a global phenomenon. Our main thing that we want to achieve is build up our entrepreneurial community to help normal people, to help people that have already started on the way to entrepreneurship, to brush up their skills, to become entrepreneurs, to improve their life, to improve the world we live in. For us, everything is about impact, about building up this community with helping people to get together that have similar interests and build. So for us, it's not about winning. You will be judged tonight, but you'll be all winners. Yeah, it always sounds crazy, cheesy like that. But our goal is to create entrepreneurs, not startups. So what you went through this weekend hopefully changed your mind. Changed how you think about things. And that's what we are for. That's what we're here for. Community. So all of you this weekend became nakama, friends. Right? And it's not only you. I mean, you're also connected to the past Startup Weekends and to the future Startup Weekends. You can relate to somebody who went through a Startup Weekend. So you're kind of instantly connected with those people. Use this network to accelerate yourself, to accelerate your business, to do interesting stuff, to go out there, do awesome stuff. The judging criteria you've seen a lot, so I hope you all will address those points within your presentation. We're very looking much forward to that. Let's shortly introduce our judges. The judges will just stand up and give a short introduction.
Sorry for no mic.
Sorry, yes, no mic, please.
Hi, my name is Mike. I met a lot of you earlier this weekend on Friday. Welcome to IDEO Tokyo. I currently help co-lead the IDEO Tokyo studio, and very excited to meet all of you, and can't wait to hear what the new startup ideas are. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jay. I live in Japan. I do a startup here that helps people create and send invoices online. I've been in Japan for 13 years, came originally to study martial arts, and here I am doing a startup. Yeah, looking forward to hearing the presentations.
Hi, I'm Chu. I run the startup called Class2. It's actually a site that connects students across the world for one-on-one lessons. We have just hit our 100-country milestone, and it's pretty viral right now. We always, I think 20% of our users are from sort of like paid acquisition. 80% is all viral. So we're at 100 countries right now. So yeah, I look forward to all the creative juices flowing today.
This slide will shortly introduce the teams. We took a short movie before. Thanks. So, next up, the presentations, or the final presentations for our participants. First team.
Team one, come on.
Team one.
Come on. This is all yours. This is yours.
All right. Where's the overview? Yes, here.
That's fine. There you go.
When's the worst time to be watching movie?
Okay.
So check the timer on this.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, those guys are going to be really nervous right now. To make them a bit not more nervous, no, the other way around. To rid the nervousness, give them a huge round of applause.
So I'd like to introduce you all to an important new app that's just coming out, and it's called HealthSnap. Here's our team. We came together because we had a really strong motivation and we wanted to achieve a really important goal. And what was that? It was to increase wellness and increase early diagnosis. And the way that we wanted to do that was to use technology to get people talking to one another, particularly among their own family members. So we went out and we did some research, and what did we find? We found that younger people really wanted to get personalized health advice. Maybe they're a little bit too busy, so they wanted to find an easy way of getting that. Secondly, we found out that a lot of the time, because their parents are getting a little bit older, they wanted to find a way of getting involved in their parents' health and wellness. However, older people, on the other hand, they don't want to take the initiative in sharing their health information with their family. Secondly, a lot of older people don't use smartphones. So how are we going to use technology to reach these people? That was a major issue for us. So we decided to focus on the younger users, and we're talking about working people, probably around their 20s to 40s, who live apart from their parents and therefore a little bit worried about their health, and who use a smartphone. Our insights. So we realized that people wanted personalized health recommendations, not only for themselves, but for their parents as well. We realized that in every family, there tends to be one person who's a health manager who looks after the health of everybody, taking up on everything. Lastly, we realized that people need an objective reason to go to the doctor in order to get early diagnosis. You don't wait until you're really, really ill, but you need to find out a little bit earlier on that something might be wrong, so you go to the doctor. So our solution is HealthSnap. What is HealthSnap? HealthSnap is a free personalized advice service based on your annual health check data. Now, for people who live in Japan, you might be quite familiar with something that looks like this. Horrible, paper-based, unusable, unrecognizable data. We wanted to fix this, so this is the solution we came up with. Let's watch a short video. A few weeks after you've had your health check, you get this in the mail, no idea what it means. However, with HealthSnap, you take a photo, you upload it to the app. After a little while, you get beautiful data, easy to understand, and personalized health advice. Not only that, but you can share it with your family, you can sit down and have a chat with them about what their data means. And that was done today. So, HealthSnap, as I mentioned, is a mini social network for you and your family's health. You get to share your data with your family, and if they want, they can log in and they can find out about your data as well. Very importantly, you can make different profiles and click and snap their data and upload that and get recommendations for them as well. And if they don't have a smartphone, the beauty of it is, you're the one who gets to tell them about what they should do. And it's much more likely that they'll do an action if it comes from somebody that they love. The data is much, much easier to understand and much more actionable, therefore, than the paper-based system that we have currently. And every piece of advice is specific to you based on, high-quality clinical data. So it could be regarding your lifestyle, your diet, your exercise, and if you have more serious problems, it might tell you you should go to the doctor and maybe see if you can get some pharmaceuticals, some drugs to help you. So, what's our business model? When we reach a critical mass of users, we'll have a lot of very valuable health data. Now, I come from a background where I've worked with a lot of healthcare companies as clients, and I know that they spend millions of dollars on advertising, but they don't know if they're advertising to the right people. If they advertise with us, however, we have precise information about every single person that the ad goes to, and that information is very valuable to these healthcare clients. Not only that, but we have health data that we can anonymize and that we can sell on as another revenue stream. In order to reach this critical mass that I mentioned, we're going to be working with clinics to help us market our product. And not only that, we're going to be working with HR departments of the major employers in Japan, who can then help us market our product by following up with their employees. So, in terms of the product evolution roadmap, in the first year, probably it's going to be quite time-consuming for us to pipe everything in for each of our users. But as we go on and then we make more money, we'd like to automate the process and work with doctors to come up with automatic protocols so the service becomes a lot quicker. So, thank you very much for listening, and I wish for your good health.
So, questioning?
Okay. Yeah, I'll start. So it seems as though your business model is based around selling health data to other organizations and institutions and that sort of thing. And of course, in Japan, there's a lot of concerns about information privacy, and you have to basically tell people exactly what and how you're going to use your data, if their data is part of that process. So how are you going to balance that versus actually making money with this kind of application?
So the main revenue stream will be actually the advertising, so that the advertising that we give to each of our users will be specifically for them. And in a lot of ways, we believe that that's actually a plus. So, that people get relevant advertising for their health. In terms of the selling the data, well, obviously a lot of companies are doing it already, Google, etc. So, people I think are kind of familiar with the concept. As long as that we have user agreement at the beginning, and people have to, do a virtual sign-in for that, a virtual signature, I think it shouldn't be a problem, but obviously we haven't got a lawyer on the team. If you know a good lawyer, then we'll work with them, but I think it shouldn't be a problem. People are already doing it.
Just some minor comment. A few years ago in the United States, I think, one of the, some of the research associations related to health insurance and so on, they publish personal health information about users, patients, and so on, that anonymously or other institutions to do research, like public universities.
So my question is the diagnosis that you were saying, is the diagnosis automated? Like, is it automated from your software? You should stop smoking, you should do this, you should do that. Is the diagnosis from, is it an automated thing?
Yeah, so 2 points on that. Firstly, in the early days, it will not be automated. We'll be working with nutritionists, with personal trainers, and with doctors to give specific health advice. So, they might get the data, and then they'll select the advice based on that. We would like to, in the long term, try and automate as much of that process as we can. From what I understand and that I've read, a lot of healthcare can be automated, and machines usually make a lot better decisions than humans in a lot of ways. So that's what we'd like to achieve. In terms of, I forgot what the second point was, but that's the answer.
Okay, that's great. One of my concerns, or whether you have thought about it, is misdiagnosis. So, for example, there was something, and basically you're telling the person that they should exercise more, but for their condition they shouldn't exercise at all. So, if you put out, what do you want to do?
Okay, so the point of this is not to give diagnosis. We do not give any diagnosis, and we make that very, very clear. We give general recommendations on health. And if we think that, based on the data, there might be something slightly wrong, they ought to go and see a professional in person. That's always the fundamental advice that we give. All we can do is kind of give general recommendations based on what they give us. And actually, one of the other features that we want to add is to allow people to add more specific data, not just snapping the piece of paper, but telling us more about their lifestyle as well.
Yeah, I actually had a very similar question around not necessarily misdiagnosis, but more if all the information you have is just within the report, how do you know what are good recommendations? Because how do you paint a more of a holistic picture of that person's health and well-being? So part of that could be diet, but what if then you find out they're allergic to something and so you're suggesting a certain type of diet, but then and then how do you balance that with actually not watered down data or watered down recommendations where you can just get that anywhere?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the main point of this application is to make it as easy as possible for people to join up. All you've got to do is take a piece of paper and snap it, and then you're joined up. Then once they're in, then we can incentivize them in different ways to upload different information about themselves, about their family's health, about what drugs they're on, about what conditions they have, blah, 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 blah. And as I also mentioned on one of the slides, we'd like to make it functional with other health applications and tracking apps and that kind of thing, so that we'll get people coming back and back.
In addition to that, we can able to share with their wife and family. It's really intensive that if you just read your personal data, but your wife read on there, and you can advise to him information to go to the place. One of the most functional on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go. Be prepared. So, give them a big applause. Yes.
application that helps young professionals who are goal-oriented to find time to complete meaningful personal objectives using a smart notification system that minds passive social media usage. So you might remember from the very first speech, some of you feel really strongly about our mobile phone usage getting in the way of interacting with our loved ones. That's why we have a pretty big team here who wants to do something about it. But when we sort of look at the problem deeper, we realize that it not only impacts the interpersonal relationship with others, but also it impacts pretty much all the things that we want to achieve in our life. So what we are having it here is a gentle but thoughtful reminder of spending time in a better way. For example, take Alex, who is a 35-year-old, very capable professional who wants to learn a little bit more Japanese, but couldn't quite find time to do it. What if he's doing, reading Facebook on the commute? He gets a gentle reminder saying, "Oh, you're reading Facebook for more than 10 seconds. Seems like you maybe use some time to learn some Japanese words on the spot." That's the basic concept.
Hi, so this is Alex, and he's really nice, and what you should know about him is that he doesn't just want to learn Japanese, but he also wants to find a smarter way to learn it, because it's quite a cumbersome process. Learning a language is a big deal. So what we do for them is that we actually reduce the amount of knowledge they should have at once, and we do this through this app called Quality Time. And at the beginning, we wanted to test the concept of building, so we built that landing page explaining that it was a mobile app that actually sends you push notifications when it notices that you're using Facebook a little too much. So let's say you spend like 5 minutes on Facebook, maybe you have something else to do. And that's when we push this little notification saying, "Hi, do you have time to learn Japanese today?" Or maybe you have time to run. And actually we had a pretty good reaction, because what we sent on Facebook was little messages saying, "Today, I saved 17 minutes of my Facebook time in order to run. What did you do with your time?" And so people started to click. That's the only thing we did for our acquisition. And we actually found 3 real customers who were ready to pay for this kind of module to learn stuff. So now I'm going to show you what we built, because we felt pretty confident it was actually something people wanted. So we decided to build something really cool. So I'm with my phone, and I'm browsing a little too much on Facebook on our group instead of working. And it tells me, "Hi, do you have time for some exercise today? Because I want to lose weight." And so it prompts me right away with the right card, telling me, "Hey, go for a run." And since we can't send you on a 2-kilometer run, we just ask you to run 200 meters and see if you can do it. So I click start, and I start running as fast as I can. And once it's finally done, I can stop it, and that's it. I just beat Usain Bolt, like his world record. I'm pretty happy. And I can see an achievement card, actually. So as you can see, I can collect them, actually, and we spend a lot of time on it, so that you can actually follow your progress. And we want you to stay inside the app, so we also offer for you to go a little step further and maybe run another 300 meters. Because now you're already sweating a little bit, you already have your gear, so you can do it. So the last thing I want to show you is that actually we have integrated another module to learn Japanese. I won't demo it right now, but I will show you how we visualize the achievements and the cards you collect. And we have also built in functionality so you can add the services you specifically want to watch. For example, it could be Facebook, it could be Line, it could be Candy Crush. I guess some of you are sometimes following this trap. And we hope that this is going to really help you. The monetization was a little tricky because we thought of advertising, because we were going to send very targeted messages at you, but we thought maybe we could insist on the quality of the content. Because yes, we were competing with very major players like Nike Plus.
Okay, thank you. Can you do professional?
Yeah, professional.
Alright, I'll start again. So who is your perfect customer? Right? Like, is it a businessman? Is it like, what kind of customer profile, if you walked in front and installed the app, would you be most happy with?
Yes. So we tried to describe it at the beginning with the Alex persona. He's a young professional who is affluent, educated, and really, really busy. But he also has some commutes. And in this time, usually he checks the news or check his social network. And that's why we think he can learn Japanese, for example. So that's the profile we're really after, because they're people who are objective-driven. They set objective for themselves. They're already successful and they know how to do it. But sometimes for some specific tasks, they need a little push. And that's where we think we can come in a general way.
I have a question around, I think, so the example you painted was around, let's say, running, wants to lose weight and running. And I'm thinking a lot about sort of in context. So if Alex is potentially a very busy man, let's say he's in suits all the time, traveling back and forth, and then he's on Facebook and it says, oh, yeah, it's time to run now. Will he, at that exact moment, say, yes, I'm going to run 200 yards?
We don't think so. So that's why we're building on a whole set of social media data, including your Foursquare data, to know where you are, or if you use Google Maps and you can track it like on Android, then we're going to know, oh, you're probably next to the office, or oh, you're probably next to home. If you're next to home, we're going to send you a push notification for running. If you're close to the office, we might send you to a vegetarian restaurant instead, with the same goal in mind, but different approach.
How do you actually sort of like contextualize all these like actions? Because like, right now you're just talking about running and about,
Learning
something
Japanese.
like, or learning Japanese, but there could be a lot of actions, like,
you
you need a lot of intelligence to actually be able to decide when to buck who about what,
That's
like eat properly, like, for example.
That's a huge concern of ours, and that's why we decided very early on to not be a content company, but a technology company. And that's also why we want to monetize through sponsorship, because we think that if we're the best company for sending you the right push notification at the right time, then it's going to be interesting for a lot of content providers, especially those who are not on the first screen of your app, but second, third, fourth, but have great content that you don't maybe use every day. And we can help them like have more views, sell books like Amazon, or more runs on Nike. So we think they can provide the content, and part of the intelligence because they have a lot of it.
So you learn my lifestyle by how, like, for example, I sleep early at 9:30. So at like 10 p.m. you send me a message that says, go and run.
No. That's the thing. Like the fact that we mind your social, actually mind your social media activity live. We never send you push notification, but we don't use the phone. We don't try to interact more because our original goal was to actually let people step a little bit outside of the smartphone and do more meaningful things. That was our core philosophy. That's why.
Just to add on it, so user will have option to check, like probably he is too much addicted to Line or he's using too much Facebook or Twitter. So he can probably mark those items and we'll monitor only those apps probably which user is using longer than.
Basically converting some of the times that people might think distracting into something fun.
Like smart.
Any more questions? No?
Thank you. Here's an applause.
Do I need an applause? I would like an applause. Alright, who here likes to eat? Personally, I love to eat. Eating is my passion. But recently, I've come across a problem. As a university student, a very serious and diligent university student, I spend a lot of my time studying in the library all day and night, and I come home, it's late, I'm tired, and I'm hungry. But the only options available are convenience stores or fast food, which honestly is bad for you and it's boring. Another option, of course, would be to cook. Of course, I love to cook as well, but when you go to the Japanese supermarket, you look for ingredients and for produce, you end up coming home with something like this. In Japanese supermarkets, produce and ingredients, the portions are way too large for people who live for themselves, and when they cook, they often cook too much, which creates food waste. So, is it possible for people who live alone, who work and study late, to eat healthy, eat homemade, or to have the option to cook without wasting food? Well, me and my teammates believe that there is, and our solution is MyFoodHost. MyFoodHost is an application which is a platform for people who cook and people who eat meat. My teammates are very amazing. They actually created a prototype. It's very easy. You log into our homepage. If you are a cook, or as we like to call a food host, you can take a picture of what you cooked, and then you post it onto the application. If you are hungry, you can search via location, around your location, for food hosts. If you find something that you like, you order, you pay, and then you pick it up. What's unique about our product is that we start local. We start in Tokyo, maybe even everyone here. And we have a specific customer and a specific demand. Yesterday, my teammates and I went out into the blazing hot sun, and we did customer validation. We interviewed people on the street, and pretty much this fun jigsaw puzzle graph is the results of our research. But to put it simply, we have been able to find a valid population of people who work, or they're students, they live alone, and they often use convenience stores or fast food to get their food. As for the user base, our strategy to get users is to make it easy to connect to social media such as Facebook so that they can post and then promote via word of mouth. However, at the end of the day, we have a service which meets a demand, we have a solution for a problem, and we make it possible for people who live alone to eat homemade, to eat healthy, to cook without waste. This is our mission, and this is our promise. Thank you very much. I'll start again. What's the business model? Business model?
Okay, so the business model is we have food hosts and we have hungry people. We match them and we charge a commission for the match.
Okay, so it's a margin-based system based on the get paid when somebody orders. So I guess my concern with this kind of service is with that kind of thing, while there's not many people using the service, your value proposition is exactly the same as an online ordering service like Fine Dine or MyShopper or something like that, where someone can hop on, order from a restaurant, and then sort of pick it up like that. So how do you plan to try to get over that hill of critical mass?
We have a social component to it. And we like to think of ourselves as a vehicle to create a social experience. So more than just being a platform to match people, we will also be a platform to share interest, to share a way to create a community-based interest from people that like Italian food, people that like, French food, Thai food.
So basically, MyFoodHost would connect to somebody who would cook for them, right? Not to send them raw ingredients to cook, right? So one concern is like, where is the value add with MyFoodHost? In the sense that let's say I use my food host and I connect to Jason and also to Mike. So I know them already, so they've been providing me food. So next month I'm just going to deal directly with Jason and Mike. Why go through you guys?
We did think about that. We did have that thought. However, through our events, we're able to make it so that when they need to be events, they can continue using the service. And
yeah, so basically, we provide an experience to discover new things. So let's say that you're traveling to some other place, and you want to know where, the locals live and what they do. Let's say that you come to Japan and you want to experience sushi, like homemade sushi, for instance. We understand that there is a risk, and that's, from our perspective, we're already adding value because that food was going to be wasted anyway. So that's one way we add value to society. And another way we add value to our business is by creating that bridge that didn't exist before, by matching somebody discovering new things to those options. For people that already discovered the link and they don't need us anymore, that's great for them. We understand that that's going to happen, and probably it's not a user that we wanted for that transaction anyway.
also, for example, if you guys were to cut out the middleman or my food host, we also provide the service of up-to-date, current. If you guys were to cut out, you have to call each other and, hey, what are you cooking today? Are you gonna sell it? Well, if you just have this application, it's easy. You don't have to hassle with the phones, and it also makes it more convenient, more reliable as well. So.
I'm wondering about sort of timing. So, for example, if I was a student and tonight I want to eat at 10 p.m. right? And then, so for the chef cooking, is it that they're always going to make extra, or is there a queue system where they know by 5 p.m. that 4 people want their meal, and so then they have to buy enough ingredients, or how have you thought about is it run more from the chefs, from the supply side, or the demand side?
I think more from the supply. The people who cook, they're not purposely cooking for access, but they have access, and then they can write down for how many people.
Okay.
Oftentimes I cook and I eat the same cold curry rice for 3 days. But instead of doing that, I can say, okay, I have enough for 3 people. I'll post that, and then the first 3 people who contact me, they're good.
But you could actually, in the future, implement a queue system where people can actually know demand. So the people who are going to cook are aware of the demand, so people might actually come there to do that.
Yeah, to me, we're not in feedback on it yet, but to me it was just there's a little bit of sort of the Airbnb for food.
Yeah.
Right, and then which I think is really interesting. And then there's have you seen the movie The Lunchbox?
Yeah,
yeah. Which there's a little of that where it's someone could, and then there's a connection that's made. So just okay, let's move on to the next side. Thank you very much.
Next team, team 3, right? Perfect.
No. Team 4. Team 3, the perfectly matched. Come on. Ready? How about you?
Ready? Yeah, ready. Okay. Another huge applause.
Hello, we team perfectly blemished. So in the photo in Japan, you have beautiful geishas, you have beautiful craft, and also beautiful teapots. But the thing is, the reality, all those beautiful things are dying right now in Japan, so that's a very, very big problem. And why is this happening? So quickly, everything, market, population of craftsmen, everything is going down. And why does that thing happen? So one thing is in Japan, there was a change recently in the lifestyle. Cheap products came from abroad, and consequently, craftsmen, fewer, they lost job, and that's why like all those beautiful products are disappearing. But is it true that crafts in Japan, there's no need anymore? I'm not sure, but I think there's a huge loss for Japan, culturally and economically, if we let those crafts disappear. So we just interviewed one beautiful woman. Actually, that's my girlfriend. So, and I asked her, have you ever been interested about like traditional craft? And what she said was very interesting. Like, she said, I love Japanese traditional craft, but hesitate buying because it was too expensive. So the price is very important. And samely, we just interviewed a young woman who seemed interested about craft, and very, very interesting results. Out of 24 people, 14 were interested about craft. But the thing is, they hesitated because it was too expensive. And on the other hand,
so now let me talk about the company's issue. So actually, the craft company's issue, the pupil, it takes 3-5 years to get the professional craftsman. It takes so long, incredible, but still, the company has to keep on paying the salary for this such 3-5 years. And in the meantime, people make many blemished products. 3-5 years. But the issue is that company doesn't sell these people's products. Meaning, incredible loss. Please imagine, 3-5 years, these pupils keep on producing this these kind of products, making very much loss for the company. So, our solution, our service. So basically, the company, the professional craftsman, creates this kind of teapot and then sell it to this real store. But we sell this people's product by discounting to the customer who is willing for this kind of cheaper product than in the actual market. So creating this EC channel. So our idea of monetization, simple. Company sells through our platform, and then we gain money from the customer, and then we kick back, taking out our margin. So this is actually an example of our EC site. So perfectly blemished, like many lineups of Japanese traditional crafts. Another example, a little more detailed. So then I think the question comes up: why doesn't this kind of business model exist in the actual world? Because there are two issues we find out. So on the company side, there's a restriction because if they sell this kind of blemished products, they feel that they will sort of damage their product, their brands. And on the other hand, let's say possible startups, there might be another player in the market, but I would say that no one is aware of this fact. But actually, we can solve it.
We can solve it because I and Misaki are here. So actually, by listening to the traditional craft makers company, we discovered that there was a need for Thank you very much!
Just a quick question, out of curiosity, after you come up with the idea, were you able to, or are people interested in buying perfectly blemished products? Because I know people might be interested in the actual perfected craft,
So did you get any validation that were people interested in sort of purchasing at a lower price?
Well, I asked my girlfriend if she was interested, and actually she said yes. So she said yes, but the important thing was that we needed explanation or like information about what was damaged about the product. So she was willing to buy it if there was information about, like, for example, normally a perfect product is like this, but actually this product is damaged because it lacks And it wasn't just about my girlfriend, but there was several other people interviewed who said the same kind of thing. Like, information was very important. As long as information about what was damaged about the product, then they would buy it.
So I'm going to ask you a difficult question. I'm sorry about this. So basically, you've discovered that the number one issue is price. People are very sensitive about price. However, people will only buy something if they understand what the problem is, which creates a lot of work taking a photo, writing out what the problem is, which generates expense. It costs money to do that. How do you plan to balance the low price to get people interested versus the extra work it's going to take to explain and sell the product?
So that's actually a good question, and we found several things. That first of all, like as he mentioned, that people want to know the story. So, for example, in the EC side, we're planning to implement this kind of, let's say, communication system with, let's say, the producer and this customer. That's one thing. And yeah, that's the basic situation. And also that there's a fact that people want to touch and feel the crafts before buying. So that makes, and we find such fact. So our plan is to first give a trial period of touching and feeling, just like Zappos system. They're doing it in the shoes, but we do it in the craft. That way, we can provide this touch and feel. So that makes, I think, we don't need to explain too much in detail.
But one thing would be to actually make those people able to touch the thing before they buy, so not much explanation. And one thing is, as I mentioned, we will explain what is blemish about the product, which means this will give information about what is special about this product. So I mean, the fact that explaining what is blemish about the product would be an explanation of the product itself. So it's like, to think of that way.
My question is a bit difficult as well. It's like, so for example, for myself, what's going to prevent me from sort of like setting up a Rakuten shop and basically, you know, contracting all these people and, you know, like just basically listing one item each on there is exactly what you guys were doing, right? And so would there be a need for like a specific site, or like, is it like, you know, just a Rakuten sort of like site that sells all this blemish stuff?
Talking about bigger entries. So I think, yeah, June and Misaki have personal relationships, and I think that's also a key component of Business Asia. So through these relationships, and also notice that the craftsmen are very old, and they're having difficulty in recruiting these apprentices to become craftsmen. So part of it is we provide the support for new apprentices, but also technology support through our services.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you.
Yes, 7 minutes.
Next team.
7 minutes. Team number 5, 7 minutes, please. 10 minutes. Yes, come on. So,
yes.
Just one team gave up, so every team is going to change it. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Another drum roll.
what do you see or how do you feel when you see the monkeys? Anybody? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Beautiful.
Thank you. But multiple things you see, right? You see beauty, you see a mischievous smile, you see the eyes looking at you, you can feel it. There's a problem in sight. You need to see to feel. That's unfair. Because there are 25 million people in the world who are blind or visually impaired and can't understand art. We see a need and an opportunity. So I want you to actually look at this, right? We did a small experiment. The first thing we did was actually meet somebody who is blind. We thought just describing art to them with sound, with head. And he said, Shyam, that's not how I enjoy things. I understand things with sound, but I need to feel. And that's my medium of enjoyment. So I'm going to actually run this video for you. And we have something that we actually drew up. And we gave it to him. And this is something you can experience as well. So go ahead. It's very simple. We took the Mona Lisa, we just made some dots behind it. And he ran his fingers through it. This is the video. Forget the sound. But what I want to see is I'm describing the picture. And he runs it through the paper. So when I said she has curly hair, he looks at it and oh, it is curly. And that was born for us. Touch and hear. He could touch the Mona Lisa. So he said, why stop there? Can we visually impaired not only enjoy art, but enjoy all images? That's where we found our product, MMA. What is it? It's fairly simple. You have a mobile phone which could capture images, transfer it to your MMA, and that just represents it in gray. That is a simple device, unsmart. We have a prototype as well. Go ahead. It just pops up with a metal, and you can actually see the impressions over here. But this is the first step. You're enjoying art, but tomorrow you can create art. Honestly, this is powerful. The blind can create art. You can draw anything over there, and instantly you can see it over here on a device. That is breakthrough. It can become a part of everyday life. Why do you stop at art? I can shop with this. I can see my friends through MMA. Is there an opportunity for this is the question now, right? So I want you to actually, a lot of numbers, but two things that I want you to take away. One, the population is 25 million, but just 10% of the blind currently understand braille, and the market size is 20 million, which is fairly small. And the reason for that is because all devices out there, which are smart braille devices, cost on an average of $5,000. So it's just a market share of 0.01%. That's all that they can afford, right? We want to make the cost much lower, and I'll tell you how we do it. And we say a very a small target of say 2%, and we think that will take it up to 2% in the market. But it's way bigger than that, as you can see. I'm saying 2%. So where do we actually? Why can we get 2% when the market can't? It's because of this. We have two things that go support MMA. One is the low cost. The device is unsmart. It's just an integrated circuit. It's got a smart alloy material that moves up and down. That's it. It'll hardly cost us anything to make. And the smartphone does all the algorithm, whatever it calls, image rendering, if you would. It is much more satisfactory and it's lower price. How do we actually get this to the market? Multiple means. Now I told you about the museum and the art, right? That's no problem. I told you about the museum and the art, but think about it one step further. You go to a school for the blind. How do we know how a car runs? How a rocket runs? Car, okay, I'll give you a 3D image, I'll give you a 3D image of a train, but how do you feel the world? I could do that with this device. It's cheap, and that's why it makes a difference. And that's how we get partners in schools, in museums, in NPOs, and so on and so forth. And we hopefully distribute it either online or directly by schools. That is the name. If you have any questions, we're open. And oh, I have 70 seconds. I want to introduce my team, right? It's important. We've got, come on. We've got wonderful product designers from London, in China and Ghana. We've got our engineers in Utah and Emmanuel. And we've got Hiroki, who's extremely passionate about art and national English. Thank you very much.
So yeah, so really, really interesting idea. I think it's really cool. But of course, a lot of this comes down to hardware design, all that kind of stuff. It makes for a tremendous amount of additional risk in building the system, because you can spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on hardware, and then if there's no market, or if Kindle says, oh, now we've got Kindle Braille Edition, then it's kind of a bit of an issue. So how do you manage the risk on the hardware side of things?
Okay, so switch question, but we have a risk and mitigation slide. We've got, so the first thing was the cost of production. The Japanese government actually gives 30 million yen minimum to each government, to each institution. So we want to actually first get a budget and just do major R&D on it, because we personally in these 2 days don't have an idea of cost, we have an idea of how we do it. So that's definitely a risk, right, and we identify. The second bit about Kindle coming out, there's actually, I want to talk about this one. It's also then accompanied with slide, but we have a great smartphone soon, okay? But they have great inputs to run the smartphone. We don't do that. We're saying visually represent images onto a stupid renderer. So Kindle would be smart, but if it wants to render images, it's too costly for them to implement one in their smart Kindle. Use our renderer and plug it onto other devices. So it's a little bit different, if you will. Does that make sense?
Sure. Sure. Would you, in terms of which industry you would actually go after first, do you think after going through this entire process, do you think it would be art first? Do you think it's images? Where would you focus at sort of the entry point?
And initially, we were targeting museums because we see a great potential that they could use this as a new visual audio guide for the blind people, because right now our users are replying that they have to follow a guide, and it becomes a very boring experience because they just have to go through every single art and have no freedom to navigate. So we see this as a potential market to target first, and see it could be a testing area to see the reactions, and then can bring it to more commercial markets.
Let me just add that. So the Louvre, they've got this complaint all the time that they're not accessible to other people lying in debt. And they spend more than $10 million building just a small tactile museum, which is 3D. But here we're saying every art we can help you transform to something that's not accessible. Yes, museums is one of the greatest.
So how's this data going to be fed in? Like, for example, like in the Louvre, like, there's a lot of art.
Yeah.
So is it just a JPEG scan, and your software is going to be able to do all of the tactile things? So it has to recognize. So the really difficult part of the technology would actually be able to recognize where all the contours are, and be able to. So is it just like I can feed in the JPEG, and it's just going to render me like something?
The smartphone sort of does that. Okay, so it takes the image and renders it into the device. How do I get the image or the change that in front of me? I could use BLEs or I could NFCs. So the BLE will just pass in the information of the image, says this is the image, and I render it. But the idea here is to render the image on the smartphone through the device.
And about your question is, yes, you can put like viewer of an image in JPEG or PNG, and we have like some algorithms that we change from the RGB to the depth. Yeah. These are a lot of algorithms in the web, and we can use that, and after we send this to the device.
So much of visuals around color. So I know this is partially sort of shapes and contours. And I know is the idea that color would come through audio, and would your service provide all the audio, or is it partnering with other organizations to actually create what that audio track?
Actually, beyond the technology we are thinking, we can transfer the color to the temperature, so make people feel the color also.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another add we can add in the future.
So it's an open question. To be honest, it's easy to do it by a smartphone app. We can easily implement it. But then, just to keep it a more free experience, I mean, these people are actually researching on that. How do you sense color with heat? Sounds difficult right now, but I think it's something that we think about. Like loud colors, hot, pleasant colors, cool. So
Okay, thank you.
Next one is Japanese idol. ability.
Okay, applause. Thanks very much. We appreciate you guys doing this today very much. We're all very grateful. I think we're all. Okay, how are you going to learn Japanese and have fun doing it? Improve your pronunciation, improve your speed. Japanese Idol Karaoke app. What you're going to do is you're going to take your Japanese singing ability and you're going to share it with similar students in your level and your range, with your friends online, and most importantly, with evaluators, with native language Japanese speakers who are going to rank your singing and your pronunciation. And how are they going to do this? How are we going to make money from this? There's going to be two channels, B2B and B2C. In B2C, we've got students of Japanese all over the world and all over Japan, individual students. Also in B2C, we've got karaoke catch-up partners. You just got to Japan, you've never been to Japan before, and you got to go out with your company trip, and you're spending all this time karaoke, getting drunk with these people, but they have decades of experience, and you want to catch up with them. So you go and get this app, and you start practicing at home. And the other one we're talking about is B2B, Japanese language schools, a revenue sharing agreement with the schools so that the students have a fun way. It's an edutainment. It's a fun way to practice your pronunciation and improve your speed, and also use with overseas universities, other Japanese language programs all over the world. So this is the team. This is our fearless leader, Matt Bailey. That's him on the right. And Japanese, this is incredible. We didn't realize this. Look at the growth in Japanese. This is 2006, 2009, it's up to 3.5 minutes continuing. Tokyo Olympics, it's going to keep going. In fact, it's probably going to increase. This is not going to decrease. This is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and this is the Japan Foundation. So these are reliable figures. So our demographics are going to keep improving through this app. Revenue sources, we've got, the main one's going to be subscription fee. The section, a monthly subscription fee for a basic plan, you get 5 judgments, 5 judges, 5 evaluations. Then B2B partners, revenue sharing, we're going to have to be splitting, reducing our fee or giving that on a gross basis. And then advertisements. The advertisements, of course, will go away if you get the subscription fee. And the expenses, the biggest expense is going to be paying the native language speakers, native Japanese speakers to evaluate the karaoke, how well people are singing. Marketing is going to be flexible, but it's going to be Facebook and social media. Licensing, that's going to be another big one because we're going to be using karaoke databases, the lyrics, and the music. So that's not going to be expensive. And then with any app, you've got system software development and maintenance. So the drivers in this system is one, there's revenue to subscriptions are going to be the big one. That's where we're going to get most of our revenue. But then the expense is going to be marketing. The marketing expense is flexible. We can tailor that to the revenue. That shouldn't be too big a problem. So this is our app. And this is the prototype. We have, this is the model. So you click on practice for a judge. You click on, this is your practice screen. This is your results. And this is your results screen. And it gives you feedback and comments. And then the judge tells you what she thinks of your thing. Now we're going to go through a little bit slower than what we just saw. So just a standard login screen initially, enter your data. Then the standard dashboard. The dashboard has a library, a list of songs that you want to sing or can sing, you can choose from. The rankings, global, Hall of Fame, and your personal rankings, where you appear in that, and how you've improved over time. Your history, all the songs you've sang in your library, your practice, you have judged, and then your standard settings and app. So then there's the 2 modes. There's the solo mode, and then there's the judging mode. Solo mode is when you're practicing, you're doing the dishes, you're whatever, cleaning the house, you can practice your solo. And then 5 times a month for the basic fee, you get a judge to evaluate and give you a critique. And when the judge gives you a critique, you practice. This is Josephine. This is her most recent song played. She's in a group judging competition. So she's competing in her Girl Power Gang group, and this is the app, and it's giving her the lyrics.
It gives the option to have it lyrics in kanji or katakana or hiragana. And then this is the results screen. It gives you the comments and the judge. This is our feedback, fun, good way with coworkers, inexpensive. And every foreigner in here knows this. They want honest feedback from the Japanese, and you're going to get it from these people because they're getting paid to do it. Japanese idol, let the judge decide. Thank you.
So what would be your major way of monetizing this?
So Matt is our motivating force. Oh, sure. Our major way of monetizing this is through basically judging songs. So it's freemium model for solo because we don't have to pay anything for judges. But if people want their music judged, it's obviously going to take about 24 hours to get it judged. It comes back to them, and then we expect them to subscribe to that judging mode.
I know singing is really great at sort of pronunciation. And how do you think about sort of is also vocabulary and like understanding what the word means and all that, the other parts of the learning the language? Is that going to come through this service as well, or is this mainly targeted at a specific part of that?
Mostly pronunciation.
Okay.
The original idea was to make learning fun. We want to make learning fun for each. If you trick people into learning, they spend more time learning, and they'll do it in more various different places, driving the car.
So where would you actually be using the application? You just use it by yourself, preferably where no one else is around, to sing at your phone and it records you, or how do you actually use it in practice?
Well, that's the idea, is that it's an actual app. It's either through iOS or through Android. And the person would log into the app through the login screen, as you saw before. And then what they would do is, when they went into the solo mode, that would just be practicing by themselves, no judging involved, whatever. You're just trying to get the words down and trying to improve yourself. The judging mode is, that would actually upload your performance. So you sing to your phone, the performance, that audio performance would be uploaded to a database, and then it would be sent to a judge. The judge a native Japanese judge would evaluate your performance and then send you back the results within 24 hours, ideally. And we've already talked to Joy Sound, the karaoke place, and they're interested in seeing this and want to share if they want to. Yeah, they actually asked us, they said, if you guys are ready to go, we'd really like to see the app, and we think that there might be other ideas, we could plug into each other with an API and move this forward. So they're very interested because karaoke is, older Japanese people, it's kind of a business that's going down, so. And that Joy Sound would obviously solve the library problem in terms of the expense for the lyrics for the licensing. Save their own library.
So it's sort of like I record then I upload kind of thing, right? Yeah. Have you thought about countries, which there is a lot where, like on the mobiles, like in Japan, we're really, really lucky. It's really fast. It's like LTE. But in a lot of countries, like basically uploading by 3G is very painful, and there is like a bandwidth cap. And once you reach that bandwidth cap, like basically you can't upload anything anymore. So would that work for?
One of the things, that's a good point. We hadn't thought about it until now. One of the things we were talking about was doing this live and doing it on Skype. And that would be one possible solution. If you did it live on Skype, you could give people, and they have whatever 24 hours still to judge with it. But the audio is, and there's not going to be visual on this. There's just going to be the audio for and so that might be, the audio is obviously not something visual, but we might have to tailor that to. But there's still a huge opportunity. I mean, if you look at China, if you look at the U.S., I mean, Shanghai has pretty damn good, reception. In fact, better than some parts of the U.S. So I think audio files are not nearly as heavy as video files. So.
Could you talk to us a little bit about kind of customer validation, right? Because there's a lot of kind of very different behavioral things that you're asking people to do that, you know, I'm not sure if people will do that again or not, right? Like, will people sing at their phone for 4 minutes, then upload it, then be judged by someone else? Will somebody spend the time to judge someone and provide detailed feedback, even if they're getting paid? Like, how much would you pay for that, and how much would you want to be paid to judge that like that? Have you done any validation on that?
Yes, of course. For judging, we will pay for one song judged for 250 yen. I think we will, 1 hour judging will make a judgment for 6 or so. So the payment will be 1,500 per hour.
Okay, thank you.
Move the front. Move the front. Move the front.
Okay, ready? And another applause.
Okay, let's start. I'm going to tell you a story of our project, story of one app. So what actually are we doing? We're gonna have backpackers. Wait, maybe what do we mean when they say backpackers? By our definition, backpacker is someone who is independent traveler, who has basically a low budget, who travels for a long period of time, like more than 3 weeks, and who visits several different countries in the same time. And of course, they have this one, backpacker, by definition. And here's time for some focus. It's a difficult question. How do you think? What really makes people happy? Any ideas?
Beer.
Of course, maybe money. Why not? Or maybe next episode of your favorite TV drama, like Game of Thrones. I don't know. Maybe it's Latest Beautiful Girl. But, of course, that's all true. I agree, but how long lasts such kind of happiness? A guy from Harvard Business School, Michael Norton, says that giving makes people happier, and happier people give more. So it's kind of a vicious circle. But what if you don't have money to give it? Then you can give even more. You think you can give us your imagination. So we're gonna give people new app. It's called Movie Packer. And what makes it different from its competitors like World Movies, for example? It's not just a movie app. It's a community of active people who share their inspiration and donate their movies to a good purpose, like saving world heritage or reducing poverty or helping deal with climate change. So with this app, you can share all beautiful, inspiring, passing moments you face during your travel. And your movie will be uploaded on YouTube Backpacker channel. So everyone can see this world through your eyes. All the profit we get, we want to donate to charity. And we'll publish monthly report about your health. So you can see that it really works. So once you start this up, you understand that you are not alone. You meet another backpackers in our community and can learn a lot from them. All you need is just your smartphone and your imagination. And here's a demonstration of our app.
Okay, so here are the big purpose. So this is our native applications. So this is a single source you can deploy to the Android, iOS, Windows phones. So here is your inspired place. So I'd like to capture this moment. So we start shooting movies. So after the shooting movies, you can edit the movie in some ways. So you can apply any types of filters. So you can apply any types of the filter like Instagram. For example, several types of movies, or you can add any type of the message onto the videos. So now it's ready to share. So you can share. So we sync to the YouTube. So with the YouTube, we will monetize your movies, and the money will go through to the UNICEF. So this is our movie progress. This is available now, so I'm happy to share the other package.
So let me explain the business model strategy. The concept is, save your money, donate your inspiration. So this is our company. So we are providing the app to backpackers, and we will let them take movies. And by the way, I had an interview with 5 backpackers, and I found that they have a problem. They can't, they don't have, they want to contribute to the world, but they don't have. So we brainstormed our application function, and we will generate this app. So we will let them donate movies to us, inspiring movies, then we will monetize it on YouTube. So a lot of people can see from all over the world. So then we will donate the profit from YouTube to NGO to protect the world, etc. So we had a meeting with one NGO they are very interested in, and they could be a partner for us. So rollout plan, very quickly. Phase 1, building a perfect app. We have now kind of the prototype, so we will brush it, polish up. So phase 2, creating a community with SNS or something. Phase 3, the big launch day. And phase 4, we will keep supporting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you've explained how you're going to make money for charity, but how are you going to make money for yourself?
Actually, we will have, I calculated the revenue something like this. This is numbers, but I calculated the movie, how many YouTubers are really getting money from their movies. Then we thought that it's viable, possible, profitable for people, and we can have money for hiring engineers and designers, etc.
So all of the money comes from YouTube monetization?
We're gonna have basically free app, but we're gonna make money on in-app purchases. So, for example, in case of filters, we have 6 filters available in free version. But in full version, you can buy more filters. You can buy more BGM for your movies, and also you can make slideshow of these short movies. Every movie is limited per 10 seconds, so you can make slideshow. It's also available in free version, but in full version there are a lot of options of openings, endings, and patterns of slideshow.
For like basically, if I'm a traveler, what's it stopping me from sort of like taking the movies, upload it to YouTube myself, monetize it, and then donate the money directly to NGOs? Like do I have to go through like this app in a sense? So basically, for me, I would upload it to YouTube, earn some money, and then for that money, I donate it all to NGOs. So
some people will do that, but some people don't want to do that. It's I can donate to movies, but I don't want to do that kind of work. So this is let them donate their movies, just not money. Movies.
So you own the copyright after I take the movie. So the copyright goes to you.
We can share the copyright.
Actually, it's covered 3 reasons why people are unsatisfied with existing apps. First is when you are traveling and you take movie, it consumes a lot of battery of your phone. So if you are out of battery somewhere in desert, it can be a big problem for you. So we're going to provide battery saving function. Next one is that movies are really difficult to upload because in some countries internet connection is bad. So we're going to provide data downsizing function. And the last one, existing apps have too lot of functions, so in some cases it takes time to master them.
Like, for example, iMovie is a wonderful application, but it takes some time to get through it and learn how to make easy movies. So we're going to leave only basic functions to make it more acceptable.
I can sort of understand the desirability from the people taking the movies and they want to give back. How about for people who want to view these movies? Like, and I can't see necessarily like, are these if these are like iPhone movies, let's say they go to Machu Picchu, the backpack, like, would I, as a viewer of the world, want to watch someone else's video of that? Like, what's the sort of reason why people would actually not only want to watch these movies, but then also pay money to either subscribe or pay for each of these movies?
So every camera has every vision or unique experience, unique eyes. So some viewers want to see the really unique viewer's experience. So that kind of thing could be the really differentiation. The backpackers has really unique opportunity to see the world, real world. They are poverty. They are really war. So that kind of thing. Sometimes TV are avoiding. We are not a TV program. This is not TV program. This is the real world channel.
Out of interest, are there any coders on the team?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Kim Bond. Kim number four, Bond. Come on, last thing. Please turn off this. Please turn off this. Turn off. Turn off this.
Yeah, it just gets really close here. It gets really close here.
Then reduce the flow here.
Okay, another round of applause for last team now.
Hello guys, our service name is Bond. So, do you like music?
Yes.
We make your music live more enjoyable. So you said you like music. That means you have favorite artists. So that it's worth time to pour all the information sources of your favorite artists. So this is our solution. Our app helps you to bond with your favorite artist information. You can check all the information of your favorite artists on single timeline. Not only social media such as Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus, and not only YouTube and SoundCloud and other text media. So watch our video. First, type your favorite artist. Who is your favorite artist?
Britney Spears.
I see. You like Lady Gaga. And such, and you can check all the information of Lady Gaga on one timeline, and you can listen to music, and you can check latest news. And if you follow your favorite artists, when update information or app push notification. So our position, we focus entertainment and content aggregator. So Spotify and SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, not competitor, they're partners.
Okay, so in terms of the business model, we have two revenue sources. The one is advertising revenue, and the second one is kind of freemium model. So the free users, they are able to follow 5 artists and with advertisement. And for premium users, so there's no limitation of number of following artists, and there's no ads. So this is our profit calculation. We calculate that we can get $18,000 a month, and also $216 a year. This is our calculation. And you can ask any question later. This calculation. Okay. And then this is market adoption. So first of all, we do not have money, so we need to focus on viral word of mouth at first. So of course, we encourage users to introduce this application to their friends by presenting one additional, for example, like following slot, following artist slot. And also we have connectivity with Facebook and Twitter so that they can share their favorite artist latest information in Instagram. And after we get money, we'd like to have a negotiation with partnership with, of course, ticket sales and distribution companies, and also the music services like Spotify or iTunes, etc. And as for the events, we'd like to have marketing activities at events, some music-related events, for example, like Tomorrowland, and so on. So we already get likes over 100. So currently over 180 something likes. So we believe that there is a market for this application. And as you can see here, Lady Gaga has basically like 64 million, and also Twitter's over 42 million. So that means there are huge markets ahead for this application. So let's bond with your favorite artists with this application. Thank you very much.
So what I find interesting about this whole thing is essentially the artists do not want you to exist. Right? Think about it, like they want to be directly connected with their fans and communicate with their fans directly through channels such as Facebook and through Twitter. The only way I see this really succeeding is to become a fan platform where you can get enough fans on board to have an actual thing to sell to the artist to say, we come with a group of fans pre-built in. So how, I guess again, do you plan to get to critical mass to have that value proposition to get artists interested to partner with you? That's a hard question again. Sorry.
Okay, so first of all, we use Lady Gaga for the example, but we believe that we can use this application for not so like a famous artist, not only for famous artists, but for like a local artist. So they do not have enough, let's say, platform to distribute the information. But they have Facebook or Twitter or some other official website, but they do not have integration of money issues. So for acquiring the customers, we use famous artists, but to expand the market itself, we believe that our second target is the fans of not, how to say, a little bit minor artists. I'm sure it's the answer to you.
Almost. It's okay.
I'm curious, so if I was really into the artist, let's say Lady Gaga, one place I might go to is just her site, which includes all her Facebook, Twitter updates, all her videos, I can stream her music. And so between the site and the app, sort of what do you see as the main differentiators? Is it just that I have convenience that I have an app that I can go to versus just going directly?
Okay, so our idea is that, of course, we aggregate the official information from the artist, but also the information from their fans too. So, for example, like by using this application, you can know what kind of contents are popular for their fans too. And also, for example, like by using this application, the users can get not only official information, but also kind of unofficial information, unofficial, let's say, contents to, like a YouTube upload or some other information.
I think getting people to download like Bond is the hurdle here. So basically, how are you going to spread this, get me to download and get my friends to download, or what is the way that you will get people to download Bond?
Yes, that's a very important question. And first of all, I would say the word of mouth is the most important way to get our new customers. So we will prepare some incentive to introduce this application to others. For example, like they can get for free customers, for free version users, we provide one additional following slot. And also, so when they, for example, like when they post their update to Facebook or Twitter, we make the program like when they post that there is a new information, maybe there is like a hash code is like a Bond. So some of their friends notice that that information came from Bond, this application. So yeah, that is the way.
So what's your pitch if you start with local artists and you say, don't is it instead of using Facebook and Twitter, use Bond, or as well as Facebook and Twitter, use Bond? How do you pitch to a local smaller artist?
Small artist. Of course, we think that they will they use Facebook and Twitter, and of course they have official website. But sometimes, so for example, we check Harry Pamyu, Twitter and Facebook. They are not exactly the same information. But Harry Pamyu posts her feelings on Twitter. On the other hand, Facebook has more official information. So by using this, they can integrate.
Okay.
All right.
So with that, that's all of our teams. Another huge applause for everybody for now. We're going to do a 5-minute break. Yes. While the judges are delivering the choices. And I will attend.
So you guys have 5-minute break, and judges will come back in 15 minutes later.
Yes. And listen to me what he has to say with the rest of the time.
So take a break. Thank you very much. Hey guys, come on, sit down please. Have a seat. Hey guys, so I'm someone Okay, so how was it? How was it your meeting? Okay, so what is your is it the expectation about your sports? what is your expectation about your sports? So something I want to tell you about before the judges coming. This one is about the Startup Weekend. The Startup Weekend is the non-profit. It's one of our, can I say, core value proposition. So we don't make money, but we want to change the world, right? So how to change the world by doing Startup Weekend? So we believe that is the solution is the community. So we are not the event company. So we're doing the events to install community or to grow community. So that's why I'm asking you this. So is there anyone who wants to be the Startup Weekend organizer from here? So as the chief director of the Startup Weekend in Japan, the official guy. So if as a handshake, it will be some kind of official hiring about volunteer, the organizer. So if you want to be the Startup Weekend organizer, so let's shake, let's handshake. Okay. So I believe I'm making like 10 more organizers, right? So your role is to grow this community. So at the beginning, we started Startup Week in Tokyo in 2009, December, and at the timing, the first person who initiated Startup Week in Japan was the English speaker. So at the timing, like 70% of participants in Startup Week in Tokyo was the English speaker. So foreign guys. But as we studied the Japanese facilitation, so they're getting out. But I believe Startup Weekend needs that international color and this kind of diversity. The diversity is really important. So let's grow this community more. So I'll try to open this kind of the international themed events. So at least 4 times in a year. So I'll try that. I'll try. Hard to keep this promise. So let's make it happen more. And my goal for this Startup Weekend is like creating 300,000 entrepreneurs in this Japan. So let's do that. Via the Facebook, and I will introduce you how to do it later. But to be educated, of course. And the other thing is just one thing. So I always tell you this. It's like this. So I believe, honestly, your presentation and your current business model sucks. Not joke. So disrespect. So I'm going to tell you the fact. So is up to 15%. 15% of the participants, they are already having $1 million company, and exit company. So some company have the $1 million seed funding, some company junior went the investment. So, but the 2012 and 2013 alumni, among them around 3% of guys doing startup. So what it means is there's one more truth. I did the calculation in 2012 once again. I did one more, can I say, the research in 2012. So this research, that research was 2014, the current research. But in 2012, the 2009 and 10 and 11 people, their result was 3% around. It means they changed it. So in 2012, they did poor result. But in 2 years later, the same people is doing better. Okay? So it means, I'm analyzing that into this. So startup weekend is just a trigger to some, can I say, working on your heart or something. And then you need at least 2 years in Japan, in Tokyo, to, can I say, be successful, to learn or to do whatever. So, can I say, see the long-term value of this startup weekend community. So we will see every time the poor business model or something like that. But you guys, the participant is not poor. Participants have the possibility. They are really, can I say, before the starting point. you are behind the starting point right now, but you have possibility. So that's why I'm believing the startup weekend is really nice chance for you guys. So it's okay. So that's why I'm always talking to you this time. So because some people are saying that after the event, some people saying that I just worked the 3 day for free. I expected more serious entrepreneurs in this the event or something like that. But the thing is, we are targeting on the normal people into entrepreneur, not already entrepreneur but to the better entrepreneur. Okay. So because in the other organization, their method is only filtering. Okay. If you are under the cut line, no one will help you. But so that's why the startup weekend is there. Startup weekend is everyone, the under the cut line people. So we can help them over the cut line because I believe the startup as an entrepreneurial skill. Entrepreneur is not born skill. It's just skill, so you can train and you can practice, and the skill will be brushed up and going off. I believe this is nice having today. So, can I say now I have to do some ad-lib. So, what do you need about ad-lib? So one more thing. So then personal feedback about. So I don't like this the streaming about my personal feedback to you guys. Okay, but let me do. So my personal feedback for your presentation was like this. So you are very logical. You are very and you try to find some way to fund the company. Okay? But I've seen like hundred and thousand participants because I've attended like 60 more events, and so as I see, so successful the example was all about not possible way, but can I say inevitable way. So they have to buy this. They cannot not buy that something like that. So they kind of the very, can I say, unlogical, but very, can I say, the inevitable way you need to find it. So that's what that is all about the entrepreneurship. So I'm introducing this one example about the entrepreneur and the other world. So every other job title. So what is your job title right now?
International sales.
International sales, how about you? Student, how about you? Okay. So I'm programmer, and the other guys and the students, and so every other job title. So they're making money. The method of their making money is working hard. Okay. So you are the 1만 yen per hour guy. Then you work like 10 hours. Then you will get the 10만 yen, the 100,000 yen. Okay. Just simple math. You do work hard, and then you will get more money. But in the entrepreneur way, it's not working like that. If you try hard like 20 years for this one startup, so then the startup will be successful? No. So the entrepreneur way is not logical. The entrepreneur way of making money is totally different. So that's one thing I want to tell you. Like this. That's some example. How much is this cup? 10 yen. So if you are a good entrepreneur, so how much do you sell? What would be the price do you sell? Okay. How about you?
I think over 10,000 yen.
Okay, so 10,000 yen and as much as possible. Okay, how about you guys? What would be the price of this if you sell this cup?
My cost plus my profit.
Okay. So your answer is also very nice for the CEO, the company, I can say president. If you are the CEO and president, then your concern is making profit. Okay? But so if you are an entrepreneur, your answers are totally wrong. Okay, so.
I give you money to buy it.
No. I want to show you. So, but what could be who would be your most favorite person in this room?
You.
Me. So I'll name this cup as Lee. So this is my head, and this is my foot, and somewhere is my belly. Okay. So what I'm doing is like this. So now I did work 1 second, and now so what is the price of this cup?
0.
0. And how about you? Yeah. How about you?
It's a lot more expensive because you can brand it as Lee cup.
Ah yes. So there's a science. Only human can see the image, can feel something, some emotion from product. So that kind of the science. There's another thing. There's some the depth of and some the strongness of this feeling. So if I named not Lee but like some Lady Gaga thing, and I did this 1 second. And I uploaded and I put some, take a movie and put on the YouTube. Then the YouTube will have some, there's a big comment and big page view, and I can make money with that the page view, right? So my question was about was totally tricky question. I asked you what would be the price you sell, but the thing is the question is wrong. What would be the price you sell to whom? To whom is the most difficult part. If you sell this product, just one second product to the affiliate company, then you make money. But if you sell this to her, then your 10 or the KM is the proper price. So 1 second is not just the 1 second work. It's all. I believe the entrepreneur do not make value. Only value comes from customer. When they feel something. They understand something from your product. That's why you need to find the honest feedback from your customers.
Judges are back. Let's do a short feedback session from the judges first, and then we'll do the inner announcement. Jason.
Okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen. So okay. One of the I'm just gonna stand up. You can stand up if you want. I don't mind. Or you can sit up. You sit down. I can get a little bit whatever you like. So one of the things that I did last time when I was judging for Startup Weekend is just a little bit of feedback for each team. And I just wanted to stand up and give some disclaimers about this feedback. These are just some things that I noticed. And so don't feel bad or good if I talk for a little bit of time or a lot of time about your particular startup. They're just things that I happen to notice. So, HealthSnap, let's start with that. So, firstly, I'm absolutely on board with taking paper and bullshit bureaucracy and moving it into data, especially in Japan. In fact, I run a startup that does exactly that kind of thing, so I think that's really, really good. I would say one thing that, changing behavior is very, very hard, especially about health stuff. Like, even if you get like your iPhone saying, hey, drink less alcohol, you're like, whatever. Like, you know what to do, right? So like, it's hard to really change your behavior. It's something that I noticed there. But I also really like the approach of doing things very manually and slowly becoming more automatic over time. And that avoids the problem of building something that doesn't actually solve a problem for somebody. Like, if you start doing it manually, then you know how to automate it and what to automate. So I think that's a really great approach. So one thing, again, that you didn't talk too much about is customer acquisition, except perhaps for partnering with clinics and that sort of thing. I would aim to focus on businesses for this kind of thing, because this is a well-known and established thing in Japan. Every year, businesses pay for many of their employees to get health checks. So I would look at that as a really interesting way to get customers. So quality time. So I think that there's very noble goals. Like, a lot of the nice things about Startup Weekend startups is people come at this with like a really noble sense of, I'm going to make the world better. I want to do something that's in the social good. So I think that's really good. So I think that helping people to improve their own lives and doing productive things rather than spending time on social media is very noble. It felt slightly unfocused, right? Like, who's this targeting? I didn't realize that the Eric guy was the kind of person that was targeting, right? So I think it's very hard to do even one thing well, like very hard. So to like say, hey, run for a bit. Hey, learn some Japanese. Hey, do this. I would just focus in on one thing, because there's a lot of power in something that's simple, right? The simpler something is, the easier it is to grasp what it's there for, right? So I would focus in on, okay, instead of wasting 10 minutes on Facebook, invest 10 minutes on this one particular thing, and pick that one thing carefully. Is some thoughts there. My Food Host, really great presentation, I thought. In fact, I liked that it only went for 3 minutes, right? Like, so typically, when you do presentations, a lot of people end up going over time. To be able to give an idea and present it in even less time than you have was very powerful, I thought. So I think that one thing that came up was this idea of getting away from like the problem of cutting out the middleman. Like, why don't I just go and have Michael, because Michael cooks like great food, and like I met him through the application, but how do I get around this? And I think that you just need to nail the end-to-end user experience for this kind of thing, exactly like Airbnb does, right? Like, I would never think about going to someone's Airbnb place directly. It just wouldn't make sense because of all of the sort of surrounding user experience stuff that really done very, very well. So the concern is, I think, firstly, customer acquisition for this kind of business, right? It's a double-sided marketplace, which means it always makes things more difficult. You have to find people to buy the service, then you have to find people to prepare the service, right? So any double-sided marketplace is always harder. But what I would do, the advice that I would perhaps give is pick a certain problem to solve, right? So say, for instance, let's say student meals for 1,000 yen between 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. or something like that. Makes it harder, makes it much easier and more straightforward to find both customers and also to find people who can like prepare the food, because it's very clear what they get and for how much. And like maybe someone could cook like a bunch of food and sell that like for 1,000 yen, 1,000 yen, 1,000 yen, and boom, they've made 6,000 yen for just doing a bit of cooking, right? So that's what I would recommend there. Perfectly blemished. Again, beautiful product. Like I really love the design. Just the attention to detail was lovely. Even the guy, the background image of your MacBook was a beautiful image. So very nice attention to design there. One thing I think that you've addressed, but I think you need to address a lot better, is dilution of the brand, right? So like at the end of the year, Louis Vuitton or luxury brands throw away their excess inventory because they don't want to get the image of a cheap sort of provider, right? And for people who value craftsmanship, like these kind of companies that are producing these kinds of things, I think suffer a little bit from the same thing. They don't want to dilute their brand. So what I would recommend doing is building more of a brand for this kind of thing, rather than perfectly blemished, which is like, I don't know if I would buy something with blemished in the title. Like, build some kind of brand around, not quite Mujirushi. Like, if you go to Mujirushi, you know what you're going to get, like lower quality, but it's going to work really well. You want somewhere in the middle of that, right? And, putting blemished in the name is perhaps not it, but something about, I guess, building an image in somebody's head of craftsmanship, but it's not perfect. But by buying it, you're buying something beautiful. It was handcrafted that you can put in your home. And like, I really like the idea of the Zappos return policy, taking a lot of risk out of that. So I think there's a lot of potential there. So Tememe, good presentation, I thought, well thought out. One thing that I kind of initially looked at this, and by the end of the presentation, I started to think, well, hang on a minute. This is not something necessarily just for blind people, right? Like, you've got your thing, you feel it and you touch it, and this part is hotter and colder, and maybe at the start it's based off artwork that everyone knows and loves, so there's that connection. But over time, maybe there's Tememe artists that just produce works just for Tememe. So I thought that perhaps instead of just focusing on a smaller segment of the market, which is blind people, this could become a general Kindle for art, right? Which I thought was really, really, really interesting. And basically the hardware risk in building this is exactly the same for like blind people versus the open market or a new way to experience and look at art. So I thought that was just kind of really, really interesting. So Japanese Idol, I thought it was fairly complicated, the application itself, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but essentially the more complex the interactions are between the user and the application and the judge, the user and the judge, like all this kind of stuff, you just need to do a lot to validate those interactions, those social interactions between the sort of things. So I guess I really want to see a little bit more validation around like people who would actually use this service and then people who would actually judge. And the other challenges, of course, is a double-sided market as well, right? So like you've got to find the people to use it and the judges, and then there's kind of some complex stuff there. But interesting idea, and like perhaps a new spin on how to learn Japanese. Haliso. So again, beautiful, noble goal, like travel and backpack and create videos and then like have charity benefit from that and all that sort of stuff. But again, for this one, I would like to see a lot more kind of customer validation, as Michael mentioned, especially like on the viewing side. Would I want to watch somebody like walking through the beach of Thailand, like, here's my beach, like, that's where you get value, when you get people's attention, right? Like looking at a video and then seeing an advertisement for like flying to Thailand or something like that. But I don't know, like, I want to see, more focus on will people actually kind of use that and watch that. But again, beautiful, noble goal to travel and backpack and help charity and all the rest of it. So Bond. So again, like, essentially to a degree you're competing with the social media channels of the artists themselves, right? So I think that there has to be something that zings to get people on board, whether it's the people using it or whether it's the artists. And I'm not sure that was communicated well in a way that resonated with me, but I think it could be. I think with some changes, this could be very, very interesting. The profit numbers were terrifying. I was wondering if you missed a few zeros on those. Like, to go through and do all of this work, and at the end of the day, you'll be making $18,000 a month in your best case scenario, is something that will cause an investor to literally stand up and leave. So, like, focusing in on those and finding out ways that you can access more and more markets and add more zeros to your monthly potential revenue numbers is critical. I would say the fact that there was 145 likes on Facebook was perhaps interesting, but really, you want to focus in on how do you get your users. Because again, it's kind of a double-sided marketplace, which is not insurmountable, but harder, right? You need to go after the artists to the degree that you go after the artists, and you have to go after the users to the degree that you go after the user. Just try to find people and how they would use it and that sort of thing. So I suppose a little bit more focus on the actual users would have been very valuable, I thought. So there were the comments that I had.
So basically, I'm just adding to Jason, so I'll be pretty short. So if I can only give one advice, like one general advice, when you want to think about doing a startup, is basically why do you have to be in the middle? Like, can people bypass you? What's your value add? So I'm standing in the middle between like you and somebody else. Why? Would it be easier if that person bypasses you? Or would it be easier if the person uses some other way? Why are you so important in the middle? So try to always think about why, it's not like you're there and people would use it. It's like, you need the value add. And after a month, would they use it? Would they want you in the middle? Like, are you a JAMA? Like, are you after their first time? So for HealthSnap, there are a few things to consider. One is whether people would sue you for it's healthcare. So whether would people sue you for writing something that's that's constituting a misdiagnosis. I know that you don't mean it, but basically just exercise more and exercise less. That could even get you into trouble. And the other thing to think about is when you're sort of like thinking about getting these drug companies to put ads, these drug companies have a lot of restrictions themselves. It's not like, basically, you can't actually put out a drug that goes, ABC drug is really good. And then, because it's all prescription based. So, you can't expect the patient to go back to the doctor and say, I want ABC drug. So you have to think about, how do you want to get these drug companies. Usually drug companies have to do it in a very obscure way, like, picturing people on slings being very happy, but they can't show the drug. So quality time, basically, the scope of you being able to use it is very limited. That's a concern. So it's only when I use social media, that's when it starts to measure and it goes, don't waste time. A lot of people like myself, we spend very specific time, like 15 minutes a day, just looking at Facebook, just catching up, and then that's it. So the usage is very limited, so the audience might be a bit limited, and so maybe that has to be worked on a little bit. Mindful host, it's all really good, but always think about one thing: regulatory problems. Basically, in Japan, at least, like if you want to provide food, you have to, everybody needs a license. So if I'm providing food to somebody that I don't know, the person needs a license to prepare. And basically, I have been involved in helping out preparing food in Fukushima. And, it's just cooking curry for somebody, and we need a license. And getting that license is insanely hard. So how are you going to get your providers to, each get a license, a proper license in Japan? And so when everything works, you have to think about the regulations.
So perfectly blemished. I like it. So basically, my last question basically hit the point. Barriers to entry. You know, what makes you so special? Like for example, like the vegetable provider Oisix. You know, people can't just come in and go, I want to be an Oisix. The reason is not because of their technology. Their technology is almost the same as everyone. Their strength is that they already have all the connections to all these vegetable providers. And nobody can just come in and just go, hey, I want to provide vegetable myself, because there are no providers. So if Perfectly Blemished can actually work on, like they can actually use their connections, then it will become pretty powerful, I think. TenMMA, it's also a very good idea. The one thing that I can think of is like, I've played rugby with like deaf people. But they're very, like their sense of everything else is very strong. So basically, it's not just the sense of touch. Maybe you can explore on both the sense of hearing and the sense of smell. Maybe a board with like, different sort of like cues where, you just do this. And, like the colors can also not just be sort of like, controlled by temperature. You can just do something like this. And red may smell one way, and red may smell like roses, and then yellow may smell like something else. If they lose their sense of sight, their other senses are very, very strong. Japanese Idol, there's a challenge there because you're trying to get people to change their behavior. So if you can succeed in getting people to change their behavior and doing that, then I think that's the hardest challenge. Hadaso would be sort of like, it's going to be a usability thing. Plus, you kind of need to think about like whether people will bypass you. So working on sort of like, making it so that people don't find a way to kind of like bypass you would be good. Bond, essentially don't get permissions of artists. Like, why don't you just sort of like, because it's an aggregator, right? You don't actually, because if an artist say no to you, then you're pretty much screwed. Don't get a permission from an artist. Just basically just go aggregate everything and become like, a tablet site. And, people pay a lot for tablets, so essentially how, like, it's the marketing that's important, I think.
My food host, I know we talked a lot about regulatory. Personally, I feel like there's something there. Like, I really love the idea. Everyone wants a home-cooked meal. And if, like with Allsparks, if you can get past regulatory, there's something there that I feel like people are going to really like. So that from a personal standpoint, that was just a really fun one. Perfectly Blemished, I understand around sort of the branding aspect as well. I love the idea of stories as currency or stories as ways to differentiate what's out there. And so I totally agree that if you can talk about maybe, and one idea is, yes, to talk about maybe what was blemished and why it's blemished, but for me it's also talking about highlighting the apprentice, who usually never get highlighted. So not only highlighting the actual craftsman, but who are these people that are sort of trying to perfect the craft, and their stuff is just as good, or trying to be just as good as the craftsman. So like how can we actually promote that? And I think culturally that'd be a really great thing for Japan. TenMMA, I love the idea. For me, my background is actually neuroscience, and actually my thesis was around synesthesia. So the idea of multiple senses, actually just using multi-sensory ways of living this world, living in the world, I think is actually really interesting, and the blending of the senses. And so I thought this was a great idea to actually highlight that. And just a last comment on Japanese Idol. I had talked to many Japanese friends, and if I asked the people who I felt like were really close to sort of fluency level, yes, of course, those people who have went abroad, sure. But the other people have all just watched, either sing American songs or watched English television. And that was the way how they really started perfecting their language. And so maybe the idea is not quite there yet, but I know also there's something there that I think we can use songs, television, and of course there's a rights perspective, but I mean, that's how I feel like I'm trying to learn Japanese, right? I was just watching Japanese television nonstop and trying to pick up stuff, right? So I do think there's something there too. So those are just a few comments for.
Big time. You waited for, right? So we're gonna do.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
How about the trouble?
Yeah. Let's see what's written in here.
Thank you. Congratulations.
This one of our team members, Yoshi, is gonna stop the music.
I know the reason we got blank. They dumped me. Yay! I'm a big smile. 1, 2, 3. すごい。
Do you want to continue? Or?
No, that's okay. Fine.
Okay.
Can I make this one?
Sure. Okay, just before the end. I mean, this is just before the end. So, actually, give yourself a big applause. Thanks for. We have actually one more thing. We have a Nijikai that's going to be 3,000 yen. Please contact Shota for details if you want to join.
Next to this building.
Next one. Yes.
So we can stay here by 9.
So we're going to have an after party starting nowish, and we will close you up at 9. Jason has a short announcement.
Yeah, just a quick one. So, firstly, no self-promotion. Do you know who I am? Okay. Go for it. Okay. So, firstly, guys, congratulations. Doing a startup is really, really hard. Even this kind of thing, like doing a product, all the arguments about should this be that way and which direction do we go is really difficult. Doing a real startup is also very hard, but hopefully it's also very rewarding. So hopefully this has given you a bit of a taste, and hopefully it's gotten you a little bit excited and interested in that whole area. So the two things, I suppose, are number one, if you send any invoices in Japan, please have a chat to me. I have a service that does that. It's really, really great. Change your life. Secondly, we're hiring. Secondly, we're hiring. So you're welcome. If you love solving problems, computer related, come and chat to me. And thirdly, I'd love to meet and talk to as many people as possible. So please feel free to come over and say hello, and I'll be at Nijikai too. So very nice to meet you all, and yoroshiku.
Same here. Class 2 is in 100 countries right now. We're actually getting very crushed. Basically, we don't have the Spanish version, but we basically get a lot of Spanish newspapers writing about us, and we get all these Spanish people signing up. So things like that. We're actually growing. We're looking for people. Try out class2.com. And we're also looking for people, either interns or people will join us for like class 2. So please connect to me on Facebook and let's chat.
So last message from Ayo.
Oh no, thank you guys very much. Enjoy the day. Yeah, if you guys can help maybe just clean up a little bit. And also thank you for the rest of the IU people who stayed.